She was gentle, polite, and kind to everyone she met. She said, "Please," and "thank you" like it meant something. On a hot July afternoon in 1977, she agreed to have lunch with a man who said he was a photographer. That decision would cost her everything. Her name was Ellen Hover, and what happened to her still haunts anyone who knew her. If you've ever felt that burning need for justice, that ache when the kindest people suffer the worst fates, then hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready for a story that will enrage you and chill you to your core. Before the world knew the name Rodney Alcala, before the headlines called him a monster, there was Ellen. Ellen Jane Hover. 23, wide-eyed, graceful, a pianist, a dreamer. She had the kind of softness you couldn't fake. She didn't raise her voice, didn't judge, didn't chase spotlight or trouble. And despite being born into wealth, her father owned a famous nightclub, her godfather was none other than Dean Martin, Ellen was impossibly grounded. People gravitated toward her, not because she demanded attention, but because she gave it. Her friends would later say she lit up rooms just by listening. She had that magnetic stillness, the kind of quiet people lean toward. She didn't drink, didn't party, and had zero interest in the city's growing drug scene. Instead, she found joy in reading plays, practicing piano, or catching a matinee with friends. Her life was about simple pleasures, small kindnesses. It seemed like the universe owed her protection. But monsters don't follow cosmic rules. The summer of 1977 was already unforgettable. New York was in chaos. A massive blackout had paralyzed the city just days before. Tensions ran high, and the streets felt different. Charged. People were scared, impatient. And in that post-blackout haze, Ellen Hover met a man. He said he was a photographer. Charismatic. Confident. Ponytail. That was all anyone really remembered about him at first. Just that he seemed sure of himself. Smooth, even. He asked Ellen to pose for him. It wasn't that odd. Ellen had done small modeling jobs before. And besides, she was always polite. Maybe too polite. He invited her to lunch. She agreed. That was the last time anyone saw her alive. When Ellen didn't show up for dinner plans the next day, her friends were concerned. When she didn't return any calls that week, her family panicked. Missing person posters went up. The press took note. After all, this wasn't just some anonymous face. Ellen Hover was well connected. Her parents launched a desperate search. They hired private investigators. They pleaded with the police, begged for urgency. But New York in 1977 had other priorities. Son of Sam was still active. The city was on edge. Another missing girl barely made headlines. And Rodney Alcala vanished. Rodney Alcala wasn't a stranger to the law. By the time he met Ellen, he'd already been convicted of rape. He'd assaulted an 8-year-old girl in the late 60s. But somehow, thanks to a shockingly lenient parole system, he was back on the streets. Free to pose as a photographer. Free to charm. Free to kill. He carried a camera and a twisted sense of entitlement. He told girls they could be models. He spoke like he belonged in art galleries. He had a Yale degree, good looks, and just enough charisma to cloak the predator inside. He didn't take photos to capture beauty. He took them to collect trophies. Ellen's disappearance turned cold fast. No leads. No sightings. Her family kept hoping, even when logic screamed otherwise. Every day without her was a fresh hell. And then, almost a year later, on a wooded hillside in Westchester County, hikers found human remains. A skull. Bone fragments. Long hair still attached in clumps. Dental records confirmed it. Ellen. But the body was too decomposed. No cause of death could be determined. No fingerprints. No clues. No peace. Rodney Alcala would re-emerge on national television. In 1978, just months after Ellen's remains were identified, Alcala appeared on The Dating Game. He won. Smiling, joking, charming. None of the producers knew he was already a suspect in multiple murders. The woman who chose him on the show later refused to go on the date. She said he gave her the creeps. She was lucky. Others weren't. Alcala's killing spree spanned years. California, New York, maybe other states. Women found raped, strangled, posed like art projects. He photographed many of them. Police eventually found over 1,000 images in his storage locker. Many girls remain unidentified. In 1979, he was finally arrested. But it would take decades to put him away for good. Multiple trials. Convictions overturned. Appeals. Retrials. He played games with the courts, even representing himself. At one point, he cross-examined a mother whose daughter he murdered. The cruelty of it was staggering. But finally, in 2010, 33 years after Ellen Hoover disappeared, Rodney Alcala was sentenced to death. Justice had been delayed, but not denied. Her friends still talk about her. How she used to bring extra snacks for classmates. How she played Blackbird on guitar like it was written just for her. How she made everyone feel important. She never got to be a doctor. Never got to fall in love. Never got to grow old. But her story still matters. And now, you know it. Rest in love, Ellen Hoover. He thought he got away with it. He smiled on camera, flirted on game shows, moved through life like he was invincible. But every smile, every joke, brought him closer to exposure. And when that final gavel dropped, when the jury read the verdict, when he heard those words, sentenced to death, Ellen Hoover's ghost smiled too. Evil hides in plain sight. And sometimes, justice takes too long. But no life lived with grace, love and kindness is ever truly erased. Ellen may be gone. But we remember her. And we make sure her killer is never forgotten either. If Ellen's story moved you, hit that like button and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below. Should criminals like Alcala ever be allowed parole? And don't forget to subscribe for more real-life stories that deserve to be heard. Stay safe. Stay kind. And always trust your instincts.